Izuku Midoriya. Izuku Midoriya, aka Deku, started out as quirkless but dreamed big, and it paid off. Thanks to his bravery and selflessness, he inherited One for All from All Might, gaining immense power and speed and the responsibility that comes with it. At first, Midoriya's body couldn't handle the stress that the quirk placed on his body, but through relentless training and a sharp analytical mind, he developed his own combat style and learned to master not just One for All's raw power, but also the quirks of its past users. Midoriya is kind, strategic, and fiercely determined, though he often neglects his own well-being for others. He possesses a deep understanding of heroes and their quirks, allowing him to strategize and adapt in combat. One would think the person who inherited One for All would be close to unstoppable, right? You would be sorely wrong, because Midoriya's body is not naturally built for this extreme power from All Might. He initially struggled to control and use the full power of One for All. Another shortcomings of Midoriya is his strong desire to protect others, putting his own well-being at risk. His biggest threat, though, it would be Tamura Shigaraki, and you know exactly why this is the case. Shoto Todoroki. Shoto Todoroki's icy stares hide a firestorm of trauma and growth. Born with a half-cold, half-hot quirk, he can freeze with one side and incinerate with the other. Though powerful, his fire was a painful reminder of his abusive father Endeavor. For years, Shoto could only use his ice until Deku's words helped him unlock both sides. His mastery of techniques like Phosphor proves just how far he has come. Among Class 1A, his dual-element versatility and raw power make him a tactical powerhouse, but he is not invincible. Overusing either element risks frostbite or heat stroke, and switching between them can limit his mobility. When using both sides simultaneously, Shoto's movements can become awkward and less precise due to the lack of practice. Dabi, his estranged brother, represents Shoto's emotional Achilles heel, while fighters like Bakugo and Endeavor challenge him physically and mentally. Katsuki Bakugo. Katsuki Bakugo's quirk Explosion lets him blast nitroglycerin like sweat from his paw, turning raw aggression into fierce firepower. He is not just all boom, though. His battle instincts are razor sharp. He uses explosions for offense, defense, mid-air movement, and even blinding flashes. His AP shot can pierce through tough defenses, and his shockwave can act as a shield to block incoming hits. What makes him special is his relentless drive, precision, and ability to adapt mid-fight. But cold weather weakens him. No sweat means no explosions. Emotionally, he struggles with pride and rage, and getting into his head can mess him up on the battlefield. His worst matchups are those who can counter his blast speed or challenge him psychologically. Midoriya, Shoto, and strategic villains like All for One can truly rattle him. Ochako Uraraka. Ochako Uraraka may come off as bubbly and a bit spacey, but she's got heart and grit in spades. Her quirk, Zero Gravity, lets her float anything she touches with her fingertips, people, rubble, even herself. She is trained like crazy to use this power in creative ways, from hurling debris to enhancing her mobility mid-fight. What really makes Uraraka shine in Class 1A is her mix of tactical smarts, agility, and empathy. She has shown crazy growth, from fighting Bakugo head-on to learning martial arts from Gunhead and even connecting with villains like Toga. Still, she has limits. Her quirk strains her body and even causes nausea when used too much. This happens even more when lifting heavy objects. Long-range fighters or powerhouses like Bakugo and Midoriya are tough opponents for her. Suyu Asui. Suyu Asui's quirk, Frog, gives her all the traits of a frog. Long tongue, wall climbing, hopping, camouflage, and swimming like a champ. She is agile, tactical, and shines both on land and water. What truly makes her special is her calm mindset under pressure. She is sharp, dependable, and never hesitates to support her teammates, even against terrifying villains like Nomu or Shigaraki. Her ability to think clearly, especially in crises like the Shi Hasakai raid, proves her value as a hero, but she has her drawbacks. Asui's cold-blooded nature means cold weather can shut her down completely. On the other end, high heat or fire places her at risk of dehydration. She also lacks brute strength, making her not suitable for solo missions where raw power is required. Her worst matchups are heat-based or overwhelming foes like Shigaraki, whose decay or chaos completely override her environment-driven strengths and composed fighting style. Tenya Lita. Tenya Lita's engine quirk gives him him blazing speed and powerful kicks, letting him close gaps and surprise foes with sharp precision. Being a skilled strategist and known for his ability to analyze situations and make calculated decisions, he often employs hit-and-run tactics on the battlefield. He is disciplined, loyal, and intensely focused on heroism, always putting others before himself. What makes him special is not just his speed, but his strong sense of duty and moral clarity. Even after his vengeful clash with Stain, he learns to balance emotion with responsibility. However, Lita struggles in long-range attacks, as his quirk focuses on close-range mobility. His quirk requires a huge amount of stamina, which limits his ability to use his speed for extended periods. If he does use all his stamina, it causes him to burn out, leaving him temporarily unable to use his engine. Lita's worst opponent is Stain, whose cunning philosophy and paralysis quirk completely unravel Lita's raw, rule-bound approach to battle. Fumikage Tokayyami. Fumikage Tokayyami is the brooding poetic powerhouse of Class 1A with one of the most visually striking quirks, Dark Shadow. This sentient, shadowy creature fights for him, shields him, and even forms a terrifying exosuit called Black Abyss. This gives him immense offensive and defensive capabilities. His Dark Shadow's strength is amplified in darkness, meaning Tokayyami is incredibly dangerous in low-light environments. Tokayyami has got a cool head in battle, leans into strategy, and has a real knack for adapting mid-fight. But his Q work is a double-edged sword. It thrives in darkness, but becomes very weak under bright lights, becoming sluggish and small. When Tokayyami gets too emotional or loses control, Dark Shadow can go berserk and wreak havoc. His reliance on darkness is a major issue throughout the series. He is especially vulnerable to fighters like Kinoko Komori and Chimera, ones who can bypass brute strength with weird quirks or overwhelm him outright. Messoji. Messoji, aka Tentacole, might look intimidating, but he is a kind-hearted, protective powerhouse. His quirk Dupli Arms lets him sprout extra limbs that boost his strength, perception, and combat skills. He is crazy durable and quick for his size. We have seen him in fights, and surprisingly, he has stayed calm and collected while in battle. What sets Shoji apart is his quiet heroism. He is selfless to a fault, always putting others first. That makes him top tier in terms of heart and team support. And who wouldn't want a guy like that on their team? Still, Dupli Arms, like any other body part, are susceptible to attacks and injuries. While he can regrow his lost or damaged limbs, they are very painful and take time to heal. Fast and erratic fighters like Chimera or Pony Tsunotori give him trouble, especially when speed disrupts his defensive play. Hantasero is the kind of guy who brightens up the room, laid back, funny, and always down to poke fun at Bakugo. But don't let his goofball energy fool you. When Zero becomes serious, he shows he is as competitive as anyone in Class 1A. He showed his skills and abilities when taking on Shoto during the sports festival, even though he is at a disadvantage. His tape quirk lets him shoot durable strips from his elbows, which he uses for swinging, restraining enemies, and creating barrier. Over time, he has learned to combine his tape with his teammates' quirks for some wild combinations. That is what makes Zero shine. He's the ultimate support in team battles. On the other hand, Zero lacks an offensive attack to add to repertoire. In one-on-one showdowns, he will definitely struggle, especially against powerhouses like Todoroki or tricky opponents like Tokayyami. His tape can dry him out, and up-close brawlers can tear through his tape with enough force. Ajiro Kiroshima. Ajiro Kiroshima's hardening quirk transforms his body into an unbreakable shield, letting him take brutal hits and charge in head-on. What makes him shine isn't just his toughness, but his relentless spirit and loyalty. He never backs down when it counts. From standing by Bakugo to protecting Fat Gum or Mina, Kiroshima proves that true strength lies in heart. His Red Riot unbreakable form shows how far he's pushed his limits, turning doubt into resolve. Still, his strength has its flaws. Like Lita, he is also susceptible to long-range attack. He relies on close combat, and though his hardening protects against physical attacks, it can be overwhelmed by elemental quirks like fire. Despite his outward bravado, Kiroshima sometimes struggles with insecurities about his abilities. Opponents like Dabi or Shigaraki, who can bypass or ignore physical defense, are his worst matchups. Even Shinso's brainwashing tests his mental fortitude. Against these foes, sheer grit alone isn't always enough. Denki Kaminari. Denki Kaminari's electrification quirk packs serious power but is difficult to control. Early on, his attacks were wide range and indiscriminate, making him a liability in team setting. I will be totally honest, Kaminari does not have many good qualities to talk about. He is like that one jock in class who is super funny and popular and talks a big game but always lets his team down during the game. When he overuses his power, the electricity short circuits his brain, leaving him mentally incapacitated for a period of time. While he's grown more tactical and accurate, especially in battles like the Gunga Mountain Villa raid, he remains vulnerable to insulated foes or those who can keep their distance. Kaminari constantly struggles against highly mobile or non-conductive opponents like Shishikura. Despite his early overconfidence and poor strategic instincts, he's steadily evolving to being a real hero. His worst matchups remain those who exploit his limited range, precision issues, or brief post-discharge vulnerability. Momo Yaoyuru's creation quirk lets her whip up any non-living object from her own body as long as she knows its molecular makeup. That means books are her best weapon, literally. She's a tactical genius, a top student, and rocks a mean bow staff thanks to her bojutsu training. But despite her intellect and skill, she's not without flaws. Creating objects drains her energy fast, especially bigger or complex items. Her quick requires significant lipids of fat to function, which can lead to exhaustion and malnutrition. Creation also takes precious time, making her an easy target mid-battle. One of the limitations of her quirk is she can't build anything larger than herself. If she doesn't know the science, she can't create it. Fighters like Tokayyami, Itsuka, or Nine who are quick and aggressive can exploit that creation lag. Her physical strength and stamina are not as high as other heroes. Kyokajiro rocks the battlefield with her earphone jack quirk, turning sound into a deadly weapon. She can channel sound waves through her earlobes to shake the ground, blast enemies, or scout by picking up tiny vibrations. On top of that, she is a killer bassist and a tactical thinker who's always calm under pressure. But while Jiro's quirk is rad, it's not built for brute strength. She's not very durable in melee, and she struggles with close-range brawlers. Jiro is heavily reliant on her support items, and her combat effectiveness can be significantly reduced without the use of her phone and earphone. Her worst matchups, Kaminari's unpredictable electricity and Bakugo's chaotic explosions, they mess with her rhythm and timing. And she is also not a match against enemies whose quirks make them quick and agile like Asui and Deku. Mina Ashido lights up the battlefield with her acid quirk and infectious energy. She has the ability to secrete acid from her body, being able to alter its thickness and burn level to melt a variety of obstacles and shoot projectiles or even glide across the ground. Her flashy moves like Acid Man and Acid Veil make her unpredictable and stylish in combat. Ashido also has crazy good reflexes and a dancer's agility, giving her an edge in fast-paced fights. But that acid power comes at a great price. Overuse of her ability can lead to dehydration, and if she pushes too far, her skin loses resistance and she herself will receive burn. Plus, using lethal acid in close quarters combat against humans is risky, making her hold back. Her worst matchup, skilled human fighters who force hesitation and exploit her lack of fine control, especially in high-pressure battles. Yuga Aoyama, aka the shining hero can't stop twinkling, is equal parts fabulous and tragic. His flashy naval laser can blast enemies with high frequency energy or even launch him airborne. His quirk could be strategically used for long range attacks, support, or defense. He wears a special belt to help control the quirk since it was unnaturally gifted to him by All For One. That secret made him UA's traitor, and for a while it seemed like he lost his way, but Aoyama's guilt pushed him to fight back, risking everything to help the very classmates he once betrayed. Aoyama's naval laser is definitely flashy, but it comes with a painful cost. Using it too much gives him brutal stomach cramps and nausea. His history of also being manipulated by All For One has left him feeling guilty and insecure about his abilities. As seen in the series, Aoyama has the tendency to be easily manipulated. Manoru Manetta wields the quirky pop-off, producing ultra-sticky balls from his head that can trap enemies or aid in escapes. His quirk allows him to support his teammates and aid in their success. Though not built for direct combat, he's creative under pressure, even once restraining Midnight and helping his teammates in tough spots. What makes him special is his clever use of a non-lethal quirk. With his ultra-sticky ball, he can even hold up damaged structures together. However, he is emotionally fragile and panics easily during stressful situations. weakness. When Manetta panics, he overuses his quirk, causing fatigue. His perverted behavior often isolates him, making allies reluctant to trust him. Manetta is vulnerable to brute force quirks or fast, relentless attackers. Fighters like Dabi, Toga, or Shigaraki, who thrive in chaos and close range intensity, would completely overwhelm him, making them his worst possible matchup. Tou Hagakur. Tou Hagakur is the upbeat invisible ace of Class 1A with her permanent invisibility quirk. She is naturally cheerful and a solid team player, often lifting spirits and helping others. Though she can't turn off her invisibility, she has creatively learned to manipulate light, blinding foes, or even redirecting attacks like Aoyama's naval laser. This makes her a stealthy spy and a tricky opponent, but her invisibility comes with serious drawbacks. 1. Hagakure is not able to communicate visually. 2. To protect herself, she must be fully naked to remain fully invisible. Her quirk has one serious drawback: it will not work on those with enhanced senses or quirks that see beyond normal light. Hagakure is also not physically strong or fast, relying solely on her stealth. Her worst opponents, anyone who can sense or reveal her presence, break her light manipulation, or exploit her inability to turn off her quirk. Mashiro Ojiro. Mashiro Ojiro is a calm, dignified guy who gets embarrassed easily and hates being called plain. His powerful tail acts like a third arm. It is super strong and perfect for close combat. Though the tail quirk seems basic, Ojiro has turned it into a versatile weapon by mixing martial arts with it. He is agile and precise, landing moves like the tailed whirlwind and tailed leg sweep. His steady training makes him a reliable fighter and team player, even if he hasn't had much spotlight. However, his tail is not indestructible and can get damaged like any other limb he has. Damage to his tail would drastically limit his fighting ability. He is also vulnerable to long-ranged attacks, and he lacks any real defensive capabilities. Ojiro's worst foes include powerful villains like Nine and Chimera, who test his combat skills to the limit. Rikido Sato. Rikido Sato, like Ojiro, does not get much screen time, but fans know him as the sweet guy who bakes treats for his friend. His quirk, Sugar Rush, boosts his strength by 5 times for every 10 grams of sugar he eats. It is super useful in battle. He can punch through walls and take on heavy hitter. Over time, he has gained confidence, especially seen during the joint training battle, but his Sugar Rush is far from perfect. The more Sato uses his quirk, the dumber and more sluggish he gets. Without sugar, he's basically useless in a fight. Long-term use of his quirk could even mess with his health. His worst matchups are foes like Kurogiri or Toga, who are fast, tricky, or unpredictable. He struggles when brute force isn't enough and careful thinking is required. Koji Kota. Koji Kota is a gentle giant. He rarely speaks to his classmates, but when he does, he is quite sweet, which is very ironic since his quirk and a voice enables him to talk and direct animals to do his bidding. He has come a long way, especially during the final war, where he leveled up and gained telepathic communication, massively increasing his range and tactical potential. His kind nature and growing bravery make him stand out in a class full of loud personalities. But Kota is not without flaws. He is painfully shy, hates violence, and has a crippling fear of bugs, even though he can control them. That phobia makes insect-based quirks or chaotic environments his worst matchup. Jirota Shishida gave him serious trouble with his enhanced physical abilities. There you have it. Class 1A's weaknesses analyzed and explained. Every hero has weaknesses, and now you know theirs. If you vibed with this breakdown, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the MHA universe.